Hey, how you guys doing? Yeah, it's right. It's springtime in February, but hopefully we're gonna get some snow soon. But that's what's gonna happen hopefully later on this week. But it's good to see you guys out there. I can see you just like in the romper room. I'll have my little glass thing and look for you guys out there. Okay. But I can see. No, they never mentioned Andy for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, who knows? All right. But this is gonna be a great show, though. We got a great show. Got some good guys here. We're going to talk to you about just about everything under the sun, and we're going to have some really interesting topics. All right, and you have a great poem coming up to help us with those topics. But what's going to be real exciting now is we got our MC, which is Mark Sweetman, for our off night program.
Hey, how you doing? Mark Sweetman here. I host the off night every Monday night here at the off night studios, I guess. Next to me is my wife. You can see her just over my shoulder there, wrapped up in her brand new quilt that she just completed. She's very proud of it, and she should be. It's a fine quilt. Let me get Andy back out here. Let's get out of that. There we go. Yeah, there he's back.
Wow.
Anyway,
nice.
So I think we got a lot to talk about. We had the Super Bowl. There's the game. There's the commercials. There's the halftime show. That can take up at least a half hour talking about that and whatever else you guys want to talk about. Did you have anything going on this week? We always ask Andy before we have Susan read her poem.
Well, I had a thing that had to be fixed for the car. You know, I had to turn into Scotty from Star Trek because my front tire, the bearings are gone. Oh, the bearings! My poor bearings are gone.
Captain, I ain't got no bearings.
I ain't got no bearings. So that's what I found out. It's like a big whine thing as I'm driving along. So I had to take it into my friend. He's worked on every van I've had since the last 20 years and brought it in. He knew exactly what it was. I sat around and drank some coffee, decaf. And basically that was it. It's kind of going through my whole process here, you know. I was re-looking at all my stand-up things.
Oh, there you go. I got to tell you, February 12th, this is the longest after Christmas I've ever seen you with that beard. Usually you take it off right after the holidays, and then, of course, you grow it so fast, you got time to get it on there for next Christmas season. But
yeah,
for those of you that aren't regulars to our show, Andy is I guess they call you a Santa. They don't call them Santa impersonators. You're actually
they call it Santas.
Santa. Yeah.
So it's anyway. We take on the care. I may be visiting somebody in Springfield who called me. Last time he saw me, he thought I was Rasputin. So I thought I'd go down and maintain the beard and go see him at this. He's doing a show down there. He was one of the original Portuguese Rodeo Clown Company guys.
Oh, okay.
From 30 years ago, and he still has the title and stuff. They do shows down there in Springfield, Illinois.
Springfield. Yeah, I guess Springfield is the most common name for town in America.
Yeah,
that's why the Simpsons are.
That's probably why the Simpsons. But here's the most interesting. There's more than 50 of them. So that means there's states that have more than one Springfield.
True. Well, could it be there also names of the territories?
Like a Springfield territory.
Oh, there's probably East Springfield and North Springfield.
Like Springfield, Puerto Rico.
South Springfield.
Springfield Township, Springfield Village.
Yeah, Springfield, Puerto Rico, Springfield, Guam.
Oh, there you go.
Borough
Springfield, Samoa.
Springfield, Guam. All right. Well, let's get Susan on here with her poem. I'm going to take you down here. All right. Now you're not going down. You're not going down audibly. You're just going down. Visually.
Visually, so, and nice quote.
We still will be able to hear your laughter here. So,
okay.
Here's Susan with the poem.
What you can't tell is we're kind of sitting in the dark here. I hope I can read this.
Oh, you want me to turn the light back?
No, you're fine.
You want my hearing?
All right, here's the poem. Be still.
All right.
Musk ordered an SEC Twitter probe to testify. Trump invited Russia to bomb unpaying NATO allies. The Chiefs won the Super Bowl in overtime. Michigan mother found guilty in son's school shooting crime. Former Chilean President Pinera joined the dearly departed. And it's the year of the dragon. Lunar New Year has started.
All right.
That's your poem.
Thank you very much.
Ooh.
That
You're
right
welcome.
here. Let's see what we can.
I'm going to wrap back up in my.
We'll talk about
quilt.
the Super Bowl. And we might talk about the mother that got found guilty in the son shooting crime that happened during the week. We'll definitely talk about. Oh, and then Trump is inviting Russia to bomb the. And
Talk about whatever you want.
Talk about your protection rackets, right? Anyway, hey, I'm not saying you should pay your NATO. It would be a shame if something might happen if you don't pay your NATO fees. I gotta say. Anyway, let's get everybody back out here. So we've got where's Andy here? All right, I'm gonna put Andy. There we go.
Yay,
Andy, and then our favorite comedian from Lower East Side of New York, your friend and mine. Here's Sam Greenfield, also a TikTok maven. Are you just TikTok or you do Instagram? Or what
I'm just TikTok. I used to do Instagram, but TikTok I've moved along faster.
Oh, okay. More followers? Is that how that
Yeah.
works? Huh.
Second most popular city name, Greenfield.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I believe we have a Greenfield here in Michigan.
Yeah. That would go great. Greenfield, Guam. You know, that'd be good too.
Greenfield, Dominican Republic.
There we go. Yes.
You're missing
But-
something.
Right there on the hill.
Listen, the poem was terrific, but I got to say that with that quilt around you, you look like a stand-in for Lily Gladstone.
Oh, that's very funny. You know, Lily Gladstone.
That's no insult, by the way.
No, she's got nominated. Did she win the
win.
Golden Globe? Did she win the Golden Globe? I can't remember if she won there or not.
I think so.
Let me get Jason out here. Here's our fourth of our quadrant of old hack.
Really old.
Here we go. Here's Jason Grant. Hey, Jason.
Grumpy old man on
There you
the
go.
off night.
There we go.
I know. I was about to say the quilt gives her that bury me my heart at wounded knee kind of thing.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, so
Okay, listen. How do you get from Santa Barbara to Los Angeles?
Practice.
You drive down the Pacific Coast Highway until you hit Ben Vereen.
You can't drive down the Pacific Coast Highway now. They've had too many mudslides.
That's true.
Oh God.
Now,
There's a movie
guys, I
called-
was talking to Mark earlier, and I told him I had a great. If it's okay, I can do it now, Mark.
Sure.
A great Alfred Hitchcock story, and I checked on this, and it's true.
Oh, good.
Okay, obviously many years ago, because he's been dead for many years. So many years ago, they're wrapping up a shoot for one day, and Hitchcock is talking to one of the cameramen, and just in conversation, he says, this studio space we're in is haunted, and no one who stays here overnight lives. When they come in the next day, the person is just gone.
Wow.
And the cameraman's like, yeah, okay, yeah, fine, sure, yeah, you may. He says, no, I'm very serious. No one has ever survived staying here overnight. And the guy says, I could stay here overnight. Nothing's going to happen. And Hitchcock, now remember, this is like 50 years ago, so the amount of money I'm mentioning is considerable.
Right.
Hitchcock says, I'll bet you $100 you can't survive staying here overnight. And the guy says, you're on. So they make a bet. Hitchcock handcuffs him to the base of the camera. Those things used to weigh 8 tons.
Sure.
So he can't get away. And they toast the bet with some brandy. The next morning, everybody comes in, and the guy is there crying hysterically, sitting in piles of his own shit.
Yeah, he
Hitchcock
couldn't use
laced the brandy with a laxative. He walks over to the guy, soaked in shit, gives him $100 and goes, you win.
What an evil man.
Oh my God, Bill Mumi
And
has
then he
some
took
stories
his
about working with
lawsuit
him.
and won some more.
Not in those days. Not
then.
Not in those days.
God, his last movie was what? Frenzy with Bruce Dern.
Was it that or
1972?
Family Plot?
Family Plot. Okay.
I thought. Yeah.
I mean,
Who was in Family
President.
Plot? Which one was that one?
I don't remember.
Is that the one with I can't remember either.
I know he had a thing for icy blondes. That was.
Well, yeah, he ruined Tippi Hedren's career.
Yeah.
Really, what did he do to her?
He had a crush on her.
Yeah.
You know, she was in The Birds,
Right.
and he had a crush on her, and she, you know, politely rejected him. You know,
Yeah,
she didn't
like-
say "get off me, you fat," you know, but she. And so he made the movie with her and Sean Connery, Marnie,
Right. Yes.
and he edited it so badly that it just got scathing reviews.
Yeah.
And Connery
Yeah.
once said, you know, he said it almost killed my career.
That's saying
I
something.
can, Tippi Hedren, I actually met her. She came to a Hitchcock festival at the Redford Theater, and I went with a girlfriend, and she was signing autographs. And then at the intermission, she came out and talked about her Big Cat project. But she, of course, took questions and answers and talked about Hitchcock, and he was very much a misogynist, and she
Oh.
didn't have really no kind things to say about him.
Well,
but
he hated.
they were
he-
showing the birds.
It's amazing. He hated actors. He referred, you know, he used to call them idiots and dumb
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah, he
Right.
considered a woman just, part of the scenery.
Yeah. But
Family
John
Plot cast.
Cassavetes.
You got ready for the Family Plot cast? Here's his
Yes.
list.
Okay. Let's go.
Bruce Dern,
Yep.
Barbara Harris,
That's who I was thinking. of.
Thousand
Okay.
Clowns,
Karen
Yep.
Black,
Yeah.
Karen Black, 5 Easy Pieces,
William
Yeah.
Devane.
Yeah. Jack Kennedy, Missiles of October.
Yeah, he got-
ABC
he got-
and
Teleplay.
and Payback with
Yeah.
Ed Lauder.
Who?
Ed Lauder.
Testament.
Ed
You know what
Lauder
that is?
played a cop on Homicide. Oh,
yeah.
he played the
Yep.
warden's assistant. He played the warden's assistant in Longest Yard.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
He also had a stand-up routine.
Get Out.
He did.
Who else was
He was
there?
in Longest Yard. He was in Death Wish 3. He was in Cujo.
Cujo. Who else?
All right, let me see. Ed Lauder.
Cujo. Ooh.
Let me get back to the cast here. Get off of Ed Lauder's page. Come on. Nicholas Colasanto, coach from Cheers.
Okay.
Had the greatest
wow.
line in all of Cheers history.
Yeah. Uh,
Coach, you seem reluctant. Reluctant? I don't know the meaning of the word. Way to go, Coach. And Norm goes, no, he really doesn't know
No, he really doesn't.
doesn't know.
Catherine Hellman was in Family Plot.
Yes.
Wasn't she with Billy Crystal in that TV
Yeah,
show?
yeah, she was-
So
Yeah.
he played Billy
So,
Crystal's
yeah.
mom, his character's mom.
Yep.
Marge Redman. You know that name?
She's old. She
Yes,
was
she
old
was.
then.
Yeah. She actually lived a long time, but she didn't act too much after this. She was the Mother Superior in The Flying Nun with Sally Field.
Yes.
Oh,
my
man, just a
God.
Oh,
battered
yeah.
old- oh, just a. How did Larry Ambrose describe her? Just a battered old dyke.
Uh,
We'll put her
that's
in a
it. That's,
habit.
that,
and
all
she's
the,
good
all
to
the other
go.
people in this are no names.
Try
Well,
one.
Okay, how about Carl Bird?
So far, you're right.
Carl Bird.
You know who Carl Bird was? He was Joe Beludowitz on Star Trek. Remember
Oh
how
my
they always
God.
remember how they always had
Spock, Scotty, you're coming
Scott-
with me,
yeah,
and also Joe Bludowitz. So
Kirk-
who's
Kirk-
not coming back?
Kirk, Scotty, and Spock would always go down to a planet, and Joe Beludowitz would be the fourth guy. Who was the guy not coming back on the ship?
Well, remember,
Oh, yeah.
remember that scene in Galaxy Quest when Sam Rockwell says,
Yeah.
"I'm not gonna survive this," and they say, "Oh, sure you will." Really? What's my name? What's my name?
Really? What's my name? Then what's his name said? Maybe you're the happy, the comedic relief.
Hey,
Maybe
Shello,
that's what you
maybe
are.
you're the happy sidekick. Yeah.
The happy sidekick, the comic relief. Really? Okay. Maybe I'll go. All right.
We had
So
him
you-
back when he was shooting a movie in Ann Arbor. He was and I owned my own cab company at the time. He used us for like about a week because we were always. He was a great guy. I'd never got to drive him, but one of my drivers was like his regular pickup for the better part of a week.
You know, it's a funny thing about that movie, Galaxy Quest. Barbara and I saw that movie when we were going to England to visit some friends, and we saw. God, let me tell you something. British Air is just fucking great. Is just great. Oh man. Anyway, so they showed that movie, Galaxy Quest. Well, if you remember the chopper scene where they're trying to get through the choppers,
Yeah.
and Sigourney Weaver says, "Well, screw that." Well, in the actual movie, and you can see this with her lips, she's going, "Well, fuck that."
Yeah.
But they cleaned it up on American TV or American film.
Right.
So yeah.
And they finally made a good Star Trek movie. God, I loved Galaxy Quest. Tim
Oh.
Allen was Alan Rickman just steals a scene in that movie too. Playing the well,
Oh
basically
yes,
playing
I
Leonard
see what it
Nimoy.
is. It's all about you.
It's all about you every
Yeah.
time.
You know,
I'm not going out there. I'm not going out there. I know how to get you out there.
the show must go on.
Show us
Damn
going.
you.
You bastard.
What are you looking for?
For another.
They had a
My grandpa's hammer.
Oh,
I
there.
shall avenge you. You know.
they had by Grepthaw's hammer.
I got
Like-
one more. I got one more name from Family Plot of a lesser server. This one. Here's another actor, singer, comedian, and her name is Kate Murtaugh.
Kate Murtaugh,
Sounds
Yep.
familiar.
Danny Murtaugh's daughter.
No, she'd probably be a mother. She was born in 1920 and died
Holy
in
shit!
and died in 1917. Lived to be 97. But
Wait, you mean she died in 2017?
20,
You said
yeah,
she died in
2017.
1917.
Yeah, 27. That's what I mean. 2017.
So you have to go back in time to die.
The films that she wasn't big stars in these, but she was in Breakfast at Tiffany's, The Night Strangler, Dirty O'Neill, Switchblade Sisters, Farewell My Lovely, The Car, Dr. Detroit, Waxwork 2, Lost in Time, and It's a Man's World. She was in TV shows such as Daniel Boone, My Three Sons, The Munsters, I Dream of Jeannie, Twilight Zone, and Highway to Heaven.
Nice.
More than her acting, she is most famous for, and you guys, if you're old 70s rock and roll fans, you'll know her from this. She was the woman who was the model for the waitress for the Supertramp Breakfast in America album cover.
Love it.
This?
All right.
Oh wow.
Like this?
Yeah, that was her. She was in
Hey,
Family
guys.
Plot. She was in Hitchcock's last film.
So not a looker.
No.
Quick question: How did Martin Scorsese stumble upon casting his mother, Mama Scorsese, who I love? She
worked cheap.
She was in. Well, there's that.
He cast his father.
I never saw him. What's he in?
Same thing. He was in the movie Raging Bull
Right.
when his wife LaMotta's wife talks about this guy being cute. He's good
Right.
looking,
Right.
and so he beats his face in so it looks like a pulp.
Oh,
And Nick
man.
Colasanto looks at the guy sitting next to him and he goes, "He ain't pretty no more." Well, the guy he's talking to is Scorsese's father.
Love it. I just remember her from, well, amongst other things, in Goodfellas, when she plays the mother of the one guy who's like blabbing in the Italian market that the FBI
That's Casino.
fired. Yeah, because excuse me, yes, you're right, Casino. But boy, she didn't have a lot to work with, but she
was in
chewed up.
Goodfellas. She played Joe
Yeah.
Pesci's mother.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, when she's like,
She was
"Hey,
the one who
look at
painted the
picture."
dog.
Yes, exactly. She says, looks like our friend there. But she was always able to just sort of chew up all the scenery without really trying that hard.
But the thing is, she did what she was asked to do something, and she actually did it well.
Yes.
So
I'm going to stay on theme here and move over to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So we're going to connect Martin Scorsese with the Super Bowl. Which commercial that aired yesterday during the Super Bowl did Martin Scorsese direct?
I saw it, but I didn't hear it.
I have no idea.
Anybody?
No
If y'all
idea.
give up on it. It was the Squarespace commercial.
The which one?
The Squarespace commercial.
Huh.
Did you not see it?
No.
No.
We may not have seen the same commercial. Andy and I were chatting.
Sometimes a man has to pee, Mark.
Yeah. No, but Andy was asking me about commercials that I had seen, and I was explaining to him that I was watching on Paramount Plus, and I don't think we all got the same ads that they
I
did
was watching on the NFL app.
I was
You
watching on
NFL?
CBS because
Yeah,
I'm an
yeah.
American, goddammit.
Yeah.
I was watching CBS
I'm
myself.
watching it. I'm streaming.
I think we may
I'm
have gotten
streaming.
different. I think we may have gotten
LBJ
different feeds,
calling
but
up saying, "Did you
the
decide to fuck your
Squarespace
president?"
commercial was basically aliens had invaded Earth, and they're trying to influence people and corral people and basically take over the planet,
Oh,
but they can't do it because they can't figure out how to get on the internet. And the only way they can communicate with people is through social media and on the internet. So it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, the Arnold ad was pretty good.
Oh, that
my
was very
favorite.
good.
That was
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
favorite one. Yeah.
Neighbor.
I'll tell you what was. I enjoyed the Ben Affleck one.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
good. I like that one too.
Yes,
I
When
like
she
the
says you can all go, and she goes, "Tom, you can stay."
yeah. That was very funny.
And
Did
that
you
had
see
Matt
the one with
Damon in
Vince?
it?
Did you see the one with Vince Vaughn and
Yes.
Tom Brady
Yes.
Yes.
about the betting app? That was
Yes.
very funny
Yeah.
About
too.
Kate McKinnon.
Are there enough betting app commercials? Jesus.
No, people still have money, Sam. Until all the money is in the hands of our computer overlords, there's still going to be more betting apps
Man.
and things
Kate
to.
McKinnon and Mayo.
Yeah.
And
I know.
I love the ad, how they try to sucker you in. They go, listen, we will give you $2,000 to bet.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
can you do that? Because
Read
we're
the fine
patient.
print.
You
Read
never
the
see the money,
fine
so-
print. You can never get that money. That's only money that you can bet.
Yeah.
Now
That's
you
right.
have $2,000 that you
That's
can
right. That's right.
Well, and again, remember that this thing is designed to let you win to a certain point. Then it starts to take it all back. Once it has learned your betting habits and your betting patterns, it's these things are incredibly dangerous.
Oh,
Well,
it's
and
terrible.
And
And
they
who would-
allow
By the way,
you
And,
but
you know,
they-
the thing
that's
is-
why they always
account.
say bet with your head. Bet with your
bet with your head not over it.
it.
Yeah, great line.
You know,
from
the one-armed
Sopranos.
bandits that were mechanical back in our day, Sam, out in Vegas, were
They're
bad enough.
here now.
But now they're electronic. How do we know that they're giving accurate results? I mean, at least
Well, no,
with
you don't.
mechanical-
You
don't.
know, it used to be, this slot is loose. Play this one. No, those
Right.
days are gone.
Yeah, because if it's loose, they'll just tell the programmer, "Hey, fix this."
Tighten this bitch up. That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's why I think sports betting has taken over, because that's something that at least you don't have to worry about a machine making you lose if you bet on one team or another.
No, now it's the refs. It's crooked zebras. It's all fixed.
Oh,
It's-
well,
it's-
there's always that too. But I think what they're going to have to, all four of the major sports leagues have bought in with these gamblers.
Yes, they have.
Oh, absolutely.
So, eventually what's going to happen is there's going to be some commission out of some congressional committee that's going to investigate all this stuff if something goes. So they really got to police it themselves.
Run by a guy who tragically looks like me.
So for those of you,
yeah, Sam with a visor.
for those
A
of you in our
visor.
fair state, you might enjoy when they run the ponies, the cart races at Northville Downs before
There you
they
go.
close it in a couple of years.
I think that.
Oh, yeah.
I think their last running is this month.
So, but that's
You-
fun. I
you-
like to watch the horses.
You know what? I went to Mark knows this guy. I don't think the rest of you do. I went to Churchill Downs
Yes.
with Mark Klein.
Mark Klein, he's a horse owner at Churchill Downs.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
And we're sitting next to each other. And I'll never forget this. He goes, Sam, unless we're planning to pick out furniture, could you slide over one seat? And I said, what do you mean? He said, Sam, why are we sitting next to each other? Are you feeling something you're not supposed to? I go, yeah, a little queasy. What the fuck are you talking about? He goes, "Well, Sam, this is commonly known as the homo seat. And I go, by whom? Guys who beat up gay men? What are you talking about? Jesus Christ.
I tell you what, where I grew up in Pontiac, Michigan, if you went to a film with a guy, you never sat in the seat next to him.
Not unless it was something
True
going
love.
on.
Yeah, because if you came up,
exactly.
if you sat, and if anybody saw you in that theater the next day at school, you were dating.
Oh,
Can I tell you
yeah,
something?
yeah.
I went to a theater called the Georgetown Theater. Guess where it was? And there were these two guys in our high school, Pat Simmons and Ronald Daly. And everybody, and this is one of the reasons I loved my high school. This is 1960s. Everybody knew they were gay.
Yeah.
Everybody, and no one ever picked on them. No one ever, ever. So I went to the theater. I cut class to go see, what was it? From Russia with Love.
Mm.
And they're sitting 4 rows in front of me. And every once in a while, they would kiss. And the girl I was with, she looks at me, she says, "Close your mouth." And I said, "What do you mean?" She says, "You're like this."
Oh, I thought when you're kissing, they were like, oh, well, never mind. Look, we remember. Was Anthony Perkins gay? We don't know.
Yes, yes, we do.
Oh, please.
Well, yeah, I know.
Oh, yes, we do.
Was Paul Lynn gay?
Hey,
Who knows? I mean,
Paul
Liberace.
No, this is how we know. This is how we knew Anthony Perkins was gay, because he enlisted the aid of a horrendously bad shrink who told him he can play the gay away.
Who was this?
Really?
And he died of AIDS. I mean,
Oh,
that
he's
doesn't mean you're gay,
talking
but it doesn't.
Rock Hudson had everybody fooled.
Huh?
Yeah,
Rock
Rock
Hudson.
Hudson.
He
Yeah,
had
Rock
no one
did.
fooled. I told you this. I had a brother-in-law from West Virginia who was, what's the word I'm looking for? Dumb. Okay. And he knew Hudson was gay. My sister had a crush on him, and he would tell his wife, my sister,
Right.
listen, honey, I don't know how to tell you this, but he wants me more than you. And I don't know why he had that inkling or that feeling, but he was right. And also Hudson did a terrible thing. He infected a lot of guys.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
You remember the Dennis Miller joke that Hudson was sued for $1 million, and the guy who sued him said, "God, if I had had $1 for every time he..." Wait a minute, I do.
Yeah. Well,
he was a baby. And Paul Lynn.
Well, he died with 2 hustlers. Apparently, he was having
2 hustlers.
Yeah, he had a
Paul
couple
Newman and Jackie Gleason.
Different, close, very
George
similar.
C. Scott and Piper Laurie. I'm sorry.
But apparently they were doing one too many poppers, and Paul's heart kind of gave out in the middle of all this. And I don't know if they saw Roger C. Carmel tiptoeing out of the back door.
Oh, that's hysterical. That's hysterical.
I tell you what,
C. Carmel.
Paul
A name so obscure you won't see it on Jeopardy.
Paul Lynn played it perfectly, especially when he went to Hollywood Squares, because all of his jokes pretty much depended on the fact that you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. But I mean, he had a TV show where he plays the father of a family, and it was all gay snark.
Well, he was in Bye Bye Birdie.
Mr. Brady played the father of a family, and he was gay.
But once he did the medical center episode,
did not exude a gay vibe.
No, but like I say, once he turned into a woman on Medical Center, that.
And by the way, for a guy that handsome, an incredibly unattractive woman.
Oh my God, wasn't it bad? It was like, good Lord, really?
Yeah, seriously, like
Jeffrey C.
in other words,
Tambor.
listen, guys, I want you to give me makeup so bad that no one will have an inkling that I'm actually homosexual.
Oh God!
I told you I had a friend who was a bartender in D.C. and he was appearing in a play, Robert Reed, and he said that Reed hit on him, and the guy said, "Listen, I'm very flattered, but I'm straight, so I'm going to have to say no." And he said he's a real gentleman about it. He didn't. He didn't come on real strong. You can't blame a fella for trying. But Alan Havey.
Yes.
Alan Havey tells this story and he would never. On pain of death, he will never tell me who this is. But he was, he's from Florida originally, and he was working in a dinner theater in Florida with an actor who he said is pretty well known. So as the play's wrapping up its run, this actor says to him, "Listen, the show's over now. You want to come up to my room, at the hotel, smoke a couple joints, watch some TV, order some room service?" and Havey says, "I would love to. I'm really flattered." And he meant it. But he said, "I have a gig like across the country. I have to get up at 5 a.m. and it's 11 o'clock now. I can't do it. I'm so sorry." And he says, "Oh, come on, just come on up for a couple of minutes, just, we'll smoke a little pot, And he says, I just can't." And the guy says, this is Havey talking. He says to Havey, "I won't bite." And then, and then Havey says, "And then I realized I'm on a date
Yeah.
and I'm playing hard to get.
Well, at
He
least
did
you're
that in
getting
his
off with
act.
dinner, drinks, you know, a little, you know, come on. He's not just trying to pick you up while you're looking through roses in Central Park, you know, when things were a little more direct.
That story actually became a part of his act because I worked with him back in the
Yes.
90s.
But he will never, I think he'll go to his grave not saying who it was.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's not up to him to decide that. You know, if anybody.
Let me ask you
It's a
this.
better story not knowing.
But
Yeah,
let me ask you this.
Fill in the blanks
If the guy
yourself.
is now, there's a good chance that guy is now dead.
Well, okay, Alan Hale Sr. or Alan Hale Jr. has been dead for a long time. So, you know, Skipper from.
Was he gay?
I'm just saying if he was the guy that hitting on him, that would actually be kind of, you know, no, I don't think he was.
Little buddy.
Frank Santarelli used to do an impression of Alan Hale, the skipper. This is the entire impression. Yeah.
Was it Elaine Boozler, I think. She's the one who used to do, Elaine Boozler used to do various women having orgasms. One of them was, of course, Aunt B. The other one was Queen Elizabeth. Again, is one back in the day when she was doing the HBO specials, and she was the only woman they let on the air at the time. But she used to do one
she is the one. She's
screwed.
the one that put all the money behind that. I mean, she's retired a zillion times over because of it.
Right.
But
Boozler?
Boozler. They would not put her on. They would not give her a special on HBO or Showtime. So she went out and the first one she did, well, maybe after she was successful, but the first one she did, she produced herself.
Yep.
Rented the theater, sold the tickets,
right.
Hired the camera crew.
She directed and wrote a brilliant half-hour comedy special on Showtime. I don't know if you can still get it, called Comedy from Here.
Is that the one with Andy Kaufman where he's on the
No, it's the one with Jeff Altman.
She and him were together for a while, weren't they? Boozler and Andy.
They weren't really a couple, but they were really good friends. They were
friends.
She was roommates with other comedians. She's got photos she put on Facebook with her and Robin Williams shared a place
out in LA. Yeah.
Jeff Altman plays the headlining comic. Right. I'll tell you who's in this. This is a name that I think only Mark knows. Johnny Dark.
I know Johnny Dark.
Johnny Dark is in it. He plays the opening act that steals some of the headliner's jokes. Elaine's in it. Bob Shaw is in it.
Oh, Bob Shaw, man.
And Bob Shaw is so great. He plays the club manager.
Yeah, he's gone now, but he was funny.
Oh, and he says to Jeff Altman, he goes, "Wow, you got a lot of people coming in here. You're really a draw." And Altman says, "Well, can I get a raise?" He goes, "Fuck you. No one knows who you are."
Yeah.
And then he says, "Here's your extra money. This is a cutaway." He goes, "I took out for the meals and that one long distance call. You know, you're going to get a reputation as being hard to work with."
I love Dave Landau was talking about what it was like to be a middle for a big comedian, to see the guy get a 6-figure check and he gets his $500 for the weekend. You know,
Sam and I were there quite a bit.
Well, you know the old joke, right? Well, it's Saturday, and I did what every middle act does. I go to a shopping center and watch the headliner buy shit.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
You know, when I got to headline, and I was lucky, I got to headline kind of quick. Did I tell you this about Stan Ullman?
We've talked about Stan Ullman before. I don't know if he told these guys or not.
I'm working in Cleveland.
Yeah, you told me this.
There were two clubs in Cleveland. And Ullman says to me, how much money are you getting this week? And I never, ever, ever tell anyone what I'm making. First of all, it's none of your business.
None of your business.
And secondly, it's none of your business.
Yeah.
And so I told Ullman, I said, well, that's not really something I want to talk about. That's really, no one's concern but mine. And he goes, no, it will. This is the greatest line of "I'm an idiot and I'm going to prove it" I've ever heard. No, it'll help us both.
What?
And that's exactly what I said, Jason. That's just in that tone. I went, what? And he said, let me explain. I said, oh, please. I can't wait to hear this shit. And he goes, see, this way it gives me leverage. I said, everything you've just said contains pronouns that don't have the word us.
Yeah.
And I said, because I know what you're going to do. I know exactly what you're going to do. He goes, well, he said, what am I going to do? I said, well, let me just say this. I'm willing to bet I'm making more than you. And by the way, the next thing I said to him is the reason Ullman doesn't talk to me. He goes, well, why do you think you're making more than me? Well, I'm funnier than you.
Yeah, right.
You know, I'm funnier than you and I'm easier to work with.
Oh, dear.
And he goes, you really think so? I said, oh, yeah, I know I'm funnier than you. And he was really pissed. He goes, well, I think I'm funnier than you. I said, well, good. Anyway, yeah, you think that. And so he said, but if I tell you what I make, then you're going to go to the owner and go, how come Greenfield's making this? No. Not just not going to happen. And then they had the comedy convention in Las Vegas.
I was there.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Ullman has this bit that he thought was like Chaplin-esque in its humor. It's so brilliant. It was he starts his act. You remember this, Mark?
Yeah.
He starts his act with a cup of coffee, pulls open 2 sweet and lows.
Yes, I've seen this. Yeah.
And he pours it in, stirs it, goes, oh, you don't need something to get started in the morning? And he thought this was the most brilliant. And I'm not saying this because I think he's a yutz. To my dying day, I have no idea why that's funny. I don't understand why that's funny.
No, I remember that was he did that on Bud Friedman. Remember when he used to have the half-hour show on A&E?
Right.
Bud
Evening
Friedman,
at the Improv.
Evening at the Improv, which really broke a lot of people. Well, from my perspective, it certainly did. A quick Gary Shandling. The guy's writing. He gets a spec script sold to Sanford and Son. He ends up on Carson. How long did it take him before he's headlining? Because again, it's difficult for me to say because when I see them, they're all polished, they're ready to go.
Yeah, when Shandling was on the Tonight Show, it wasn't when comics were really headlining.
Really?
Yeah, the comics headlining really didn't take off until after the strike in '79, and HBO came out.
The Mitzi Shore strike.
Mitzi Shore strike in '79, right? And there really wasn't, and that was only she started paying headliners for her La Jolla and Westwood and Valley rooms. She had 3 other rooms that weren't the Hollywood room, so that she could still call her Sunset Strip Club a showcase room.
So is it still during that?
So what she would do is she'd pay them. She was pretty much, it was $1,000 for the headliner, $500 for the middle, and they get a local guy for $25 to be the MC, and so that's pretty much how that started. But it was all these clubs out in America, the Miller Brothers in Pittsburgh, Ridley,
the Panic Brothers,
the Panic Brothers, and the
one who used to walk around the breakfast nook. You stay naked.
Yeah, Rick Hewitt and Jay Burke in Chicago. And these are the people that started hiring these comics, and that's when the agencies all swooped in. And I talked to Ridley about this. He doesn't deal with those agents that much anymore because there's not that much of a demand for them.
Well,
but as soon
at
as
what point does it go from? Remember when the comedian would be like opening for a musical guest or
that was until the 1980s. That was as good as you could get, was opening for a musical guest.
I opened for Juice Newton.
Really?
Yep.
I remember. I opened for the Monkees.
The Monkees, yeah.
Wow. You win.
The Monkey. I tell you,
it was only 2 of them.
I opened for a monkey. Try that.
Yeah.
It was. I tell you, opening for the Monkees was great because you had basically grandparents bringing their grandkids to their first rock concert. And so talk about a smooth, and I got it because I work clean, so that worked out.
Yeah.
What's that like?
Working clean?
Yeah.
It wasn't. I did it last Thursday night with Bill Bushart. It wasn't that great.
Actually, I do work clean. I don't know why I make jokes about that. Although I've been invited to be part of a podcast that comes out of L.A.
Oh.
And you're going to get a kick out of this. The only proviso is I can't do anything. I can't talk about any politics whatsoever.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I said, so I'm going to be on like what?
Podcast is this?
So I've never done a podcast. So, I'm like, I thought all podcasts were like as long as you wanted them to be.
Yeah.
And so I said, so how long are these podcasts? And she goes, 17, 18 minutes. I went, 18 minutes? Really? She goes, and I saw, she goes, she's a nice woman. You know what she does? She works on, she's a part of the tech crew for money. She a part of the tech crew on General Hospital.
Oh, wow.
And so I said, 18 minutes. She goes, do you think that's too long? I go, too long? No. 18 minutes? Wow.
How'd you get your name?
The woman, my radio mentor, the woman who got me into WABC in New York and KXNT in Vegas, Valerie Geller, who's a radio consultant who literally goes around the world working on radio stations. Told me about this woman, and I talked to the woman. What's her name? Chris Erkle, and she likes me. So we're going to have a Zoom this Friday with the other host, and and she said, well, if that goes well, and I said, okay, but I'm thinking to myself right now. I mean, it's eventually, I assume, going to start paying. It doesn't pay now, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm working for free, so yeah. I'm really not, I'm really not sitting here. Gosh, I hope he likes me.
Well, we could get you an OnlyFans site where you definitely could make some. Well, never mind, Joe. just never mind, Sam.
My Hebrew name is Swipe Left.
Jason.
That you know what Swipe Left is impressive.
Jason,
yes,
the only one on the screen right now that could make any money on OnlyFans is this woman next to me here. The rest of us.
You gotta love the quilt. I mean, what?
Yeah.
And what mystery?
I made this.
Well, I came close. I swiped and they left.
Well, speaking of which, guys, I get the computer this week. The computer that I've been talking about for a month now. So we'll be able to maybe make some upgrades and improve the technical look a little bit.
All right. Well, listen to me. You can call me anytime if you want to work on this stuff and do like a sample mock cast or something.
Yeah.
I play basketball from 10 to noon on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And
I
hang around a basketball court from
schedule
10 to
this
noon.
off the show.
So anyway.
Yeah. No, and and one other note, guys. First real doctor appointment tomorrow. First time for a real doctor since like 1999. So,
woo! How long it's been since you had regular health insurance?
It really, yeah. So I don't know if they're going to give me Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard, Dr. J, Dr. Pepper, Dr. Frankenstein, Dr. Kevorkian,
Dr. Kill.
Jason.
Just don't go see Dr. Jackal.
Jason, I got some extremely disturbing news for you.
What's that?
They're going to want to examine every hole in your body at your age.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
I mean, okay. Well, all right. I guess it could be a good thing.
So this guy says to his doctor, "I'm having some trouble with my rear end," and he goes, "Well, specifically, what part?" And he goes, "Well, the entrance." He goes, "Well, the fact that you're calling it an entrance may be the reason you're having problems."
Might be the issue. Yeah. They well. Fortunately, now that I've reached a point, and this happened a few years back, but I've really sort of embraced it now, where I've now completely reached total sexual irrelevance. I am now completely devoid.
You're married?
Well, close. It's very simple. Gay death, as you know, used to be like 32, 33, but that's the age where you become too old to be considered, alive, relevant, right? Exact. Now it's down to like 19. The whole
really
the whole youth culture thing, dude, has just gone completely insane. I mean, I remember when you'd have guys who were like pretty good looking in their 30s and 40s, and you're like, oh yeah, same thing with women are the same way. remember you'd see a statuesque woman who would be like in her late 30s, and you'd be like, where do those curves stop, and how do I get on? You know what I mean? And now
I
they're
I know
all
what you mean. They even have a term called MILF.
yeah, and now they've got these bony teenage bubbleheads that's supposed to be somehow or another. It's like no, that's I mean,
Well,
that's if you're 14, I guess it's okay, but
well, you're saying no, and I'm saying prime meat.
Yeah. Get
All
that
right,
young
so
stuff. I'm telling you, get that young stuff. You're in
You
high
know
school.
that-
Get that young
Had a
stuff.
wife.
You want that young stuff, kid. Don't think of me. Talk about young stuff.
yeah, there
Father
you go.
Abraham had a wife named Sarah, and she was like 65 or something like that when the Pharaoh wanted to get it on with her. So
Well, Richard Pryor talking about he used to perform with Satin Doll when she was like the top stripper, and she was 65, and he said, but she was still amazing. And now you couldn't even imagine such a thing. And then of course you see Madonna out there shaking around, and she's wearing her Depends, while she's got like a silver spacesuit with Depends.
let's look at Dolly Parton, who is still gorgeous, and she's 70 something.
She's gorgeous, but Dolly Parton's got something. It's called talent.
Yeah,
I mean, if
If
Dolly
it wasn't for auto tune, you wouldn't know who Madonna was.
exactly,
I've heard that.
but I'd say Dolly Parton did a cover of Led Zeppelin's "Stairway to Heaven," and it's amazing.
That was great. That was
She
great.
turns it into a Kentucky folk song about witchcraft. It becomes an amazing piece of
that whole
music.
album she did of rock covers was only because she got nominated for the
Yep.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
She's beautiful.
So she felt like she felt guilty
talented.
that she got in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame without having any rock music.
I'll
So
tell
she
you
did
what I
that
like
whole
about
album
her.
of covers.
She's married,
Right.
and she keeps her husband in the background by his request and her request.
Oh yeah.
They don't have kids,
Yeah.
and he's not in show business,
He
and
doesn't
what
wanna
he's
be-
like, Carl is his name, I think, and
Yeah.
it's no one's business.
Right.
But she's essentially, in terms of her career, a single woman.
Yeah.
And she is richer than Rockefeller.
As well she should be.
That place,
and
Dollywood.
Here's
is-
your
you can't get in.
copyright. She's made more from her copyright
Well,
on
she
the
gets right.
songs she's written than
Yeah.
if you add her acting and her singing, recording,
Well,
and
no,
her amusement park all combined. It doesn't touch how much she's made off other people recording her music.
well, a
Right.
friend
Well,
of mine told me, he said, you can't even get into Hollywood. I said, because it's crowded. He said, no, you're a Jew. I said, well, okay, I can, that's the way it's going to be. Fine.
Oh God.
So basically, Dollywood is like a nego Hollywood. Is that what it is?
No, it's supposed to be really nice. So she's got that. She's got all the publishing rights.
Yep.
And she was terrific in 9 to 5.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yes, yes.
She was smart about keeping her publishing right and keeping her music under her
That's
control.
right.
Which
right.
many people
She's
who
a
claim to
good
be smart
businesswoman.
didn't do.
No, they didn't. And look at them now. Out there.
Who just bought the rights back to his
McCartney.
music? John
McCartney.
Fogerty.
Oh,
Oh,
Fogerty.
Yeah,
yeah.
Fogerty.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
got
he wasn't able to do a lot of his CCR tunes when he was out touring.
Like Fortunate Son, things like that.
Yeah.
He went down a very, very dark road where he got really anti-Semitic, and you can understand that because the guy he was tangling with was not a nice man. Zal Van Zandt. I'll forget his not that, but at any rate, John ended up getting
The guy who
really,
managed the Eagles.
No, but he did manage Fantasy Records, and he did screw the band over deep, wide, hard, and continuous. But they signed the contract. He gave them a 4-cornered document, and apparently they had one of the members of the band's daddy look at it for 5 minutes and say, okay, you dumb kids, go ahead, sign it. And they ended up signing away everything. And, this is the entertainment business. You get your own lawyer who's busy feeding on human blood, and you put him in a room.
I'll be right with you.
Exactly. And you give him a fresh knife and a loaded 38, and you put him in the room to negotiate with the other lawyer who's doing the same thing. These guys just signed a document.
Yeah,
And
Billy Joel has a famous story about,
right.
signing away and
His
first
first
record
wife's
recorded at the wrong speed,
Yeah.
and the guy gets a nickel off every.
I'm sorry, his first wife's brother was Billy Joel's manager, and he didn't know
Yes.
what he was doing, and
Right.
he lost all of his money. But the thing that was great about Billy Joel is, God, I have no money. What should I do? I'll record another album. Boom.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
go on tour. Boom. So he
Saul
made the money
Zaentz.
back. He's going to have his 100th performance of Artist in Residence at Madison Square Garden. It's going to be
Oh.
on TV.
Oh,
boy.
wow.
I know that
that's
he
on my
got in trouble.
That's on my
with
bucket
his-
list, and it's perfect for us too because it's right above the train station. We can roll in,
Oh,
go to
by the
concert,
way,
roll back
I
out.
told Barbara that one of my favorite Billy Joel songs is "We Didn't Start the Fire,"
Yeah.
Right?
and she said, "Oh, really? Let me show you something." So I knew it was going to be bad.
Oh dear.
So she turns on this interview with Billy Joel, and he goes, "I don't know what I was thinking when I wrote that piece of shit. God, I'm so embarrassed."
I think it's a great song.
I do too.
1986, and
Yeah,
it kind of caught
I
the.
said, you know something? He's a cokehead. Fuck him.
Yeah, I mean,
He's not,
Saul
but I just.
Saul Zaentz is
And
the guy I was thinking of.
Oh, God.
Oh, well, we talked about
Zenz is Hebrew for
trying
devil.
to-
Really? Seriously?
No,
Yeah,
no,
talk
Dybbuk is, but
But at any rate, he at one point he
Trump.
characterized Saul Zaentz as a dancing pig who was stealing money. And it's a beautiful claymation video that was done by the same people who did the Raisin ads back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And it's called Zans Can't Dance, and it has Zans being a dancing pig who's stealing. And it's like, dude, look, I get what you're saying. I know you're pissed, and I understand that. But you're.
you
What am I
signed a
supposed to say?
contract.
You did.
And he
And
and he didn't cheat you based
No, he
on
didn't.
what was in the contract.
He didn't put it. It wasn't a Don Corleone moment. No one put a gun to your head and said your signature or your brains are on this contract. You grabbed a pen.
I'm
You signed
thinking.
a four-corner document. And I'm sorry. Hey, the guys in Black Sabbath were badly ripped off by Don Arden, who's also the devil incarnate. But you signed a contract with this man. That is Ozzy Osbourne's father-in-law. And just to give you an example how badly they got ripped off, in '74, they were paid for one performance at the Cal Jam concert, $250,000. Biggest ever paid for one performance. Each member of the band got $1,000. The rest of the money went into the corporation, which strangely enough ended up not going to them.
Joe Cocker did the Mad Dogs and Englishmen tour.
Yes.
Do you know how much money he netted from that?
Probably nothing.
$830.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
I mean, that was back when the Who had to have their parents send them money so that he could get home from the United States.
Did you?
By the way, I just read a story about James Gandolfini.
Yes.
I didn't realize he had so many drug and alcohol problems.
Well,
I mean, serious. I mean, I thought what killed him was he couldn't stop eating.
Yeah, he was a big man.
But I did background on one show he did with
Right.
Steve Buscemi,
Yeah.
where they're having
Mhm.
breakfast in a diner. Just
Right.
watching him work. Oh, and nice to work with. He was nice to everybody, but he had a big drinking problem. He had a big drug problem, which I didn't know.
Hey, you're an actor, Sam. As are you, Andy. Eating. When you're doing something that involves eating, because you put food in front of me, I'm just going to tear into that shit. But
They tell you what to do. They tell you how much to eat.
yeah.
They tell you when to put the fork down.
Okay.
They tell
Yeah.
you everything.
I was curious
Because-
Yeah,
about
the
that.
spit bucket.
Because you might have a line and now you got a mouthful of eggs. No, they
Yeah.
tell you.
Okay. All right. I was
You ever
curious
watch
about
Blue
that.
Bloods?
No, I don't.
Every show, the family has a Sunday dinner.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And it's potatoes. I watch the show so much now. It's
Right.
potatoes and steak and salad. And you always see Tom Selleck like he's cutting steak. I've never seen him put food in his mouth.
Right. Well, like I saw this great scene on Law and Order, Jerry Orbach, and it's one of the best things with food. They're getting hot dogs at an outdoor vendor when someone comes up and they get a case, and he just uses the hot dog as a prop. He just looks at it, he almost bites it, takes it, and throws it in the garbage, and just gets this disgusted because again, he's a great actor. He knows how to use the food as a prop. and it works. You know,
I-
I mean,
I like
I
the
don't know
one where he's a new partner to Chris Noth.
Yeah.
And they're eating at a deli, and he gets up and says, "Take care, Mike," and you know, he leaves. And Chris Noth says, "You didn't pay for that." He goes, "No, I never do." He goes, "What do you mean?" He says, "No, you see, I never pay for the meal because that way he's my snitch. So this way he thinks I'm corrupt."
Oh, there you go.
Nice, good work. You know, just again, it's one of those things because as an actor, everything in the scene is a prop. Everything is there for a purpose or a reason, no matter what, big or small. And food, it's just one of those things.
It's just
like
another
Chekhov's
prop.
gun.
I've seen people make the mistake of, like, in other words, if you're doing background, right?
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be talking, and someone had to come, and I understand, you know, people are nervous, they're new. Someone had to come over to this guy and say, "Don't actually talk." Okay.
Okay.
The mic picks up everything. Don't actually talk, just mouth what you say. And the difference between being asked back and not being asked back is the guy who says, "Why?"
Mm.
Now,
Well, like-
one of the other things is if you're you know, on a jury,
Yeah.
okay, that'll be the last time you ever do that show, because when you're on the jury, the audience can clearly see your face. It's not like you're a schmuck crossing the street; they can
Right.
see you.
Right.
Yeah.
So I did a Law and Order where I was on the jury. It was 7 years before I got back on Law and Order, but I did get on Law and Order SVU. I played a corpse.
Ah, you
There you
and
go.
Kevin
Nobody
Costner.
plays them dead like Sammy plays them dead.
Didn't
So-
Tom
so- and-
Selleck play a corpse? In
Who?
Kevin
First
Costner
Week?
played.
Tom
Coma.
Selleck was in coma.
Coma.
No, they
He
just
played a
showed it, but
corpse.
they just showed his wrists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Barbara
What's his
said,
name?
"Well, that should
Kevin
be easy for
Costner.
you."
Kevin Costner was a corpse.
Yeah.
And,
So Barbara said, "Oh, of course, that should be easy for you, playing dead."
yeah.
I said, "Well, I learned from the master."
Well, I mean, Andy explained it to me like with Chekhov's gun. You know, that if there's a gun on the table, according to Chekhov, at some point, you know, it has to be used. It has to be employed. And I was also reminded of something a friend of mine told me about Paul Newman doing a scene with Strother Martin. And, you know, Strother Martin was in Cool Hand Luke. Strother Martin was in
a lot of stuff he did.
Yeah. And Strother Martin was in the Slapshot with Paul Newman.
And Harper.
Yes, and apparently there were too many props for Strother Martin, and Paul said, "No, take one away, because if we don't, he's going to steal the scene. If he has that cane, he'll find a way to just steal the whole scene."
A great
It's just the
great
cane.
character actor.
He was.
What we have
What we have here
here is a failure.
is a failure to
Communicate.
communicate.
And George Kennedy won an Oscar for that movie.
Yep. After
Yes, he did.
being in the Air Force for 9 or 10 years.
By the
That
way,
was like-
speaking of Air Force, and you were talking about older women,
yes.
you know the TV special, you know the TV show Cat House?
No,
It's about a house of prostitution in Reno.
I love it.
Air Force Amy was the name of the hooker.
Right.
She was making. See, if you're gonna be a prostitute, be one in Nevada, okay?
Yeah, it's
Good
legal.
words, legal.
You get physical checkups, you get hospitalization. It's
Right.
he's not a pimp,
Right.
you know.
You have a shop steward.
As
you have a
long
shop
as you're
steward.
not, as long as you're not dating Senator Geary.
That's
Yeah.
all. That's all, Senator. I just remembered she was laughing.
We were laughing. We done it before.
Well, this
I don't-
18-minute podcast is coming to a close.
but not the knitting circle. All right. Hey, I'll hang on after you guys do the outro. Andy disappeared. I don't know where he went.
Yeah, I don't know what happened about that. But usually if he falls off, he
I have to watch a Law
But
and
it's too
Order.
close to the end of the hour.
Anyway, but it is
Tomorrow
Wednesday,
I'm doing.
and,
Wednesday I'm
we're
going to do
every
something I
Monday
hate.
night.
I have to watch Killers of the Flower Moon.
That's a good
Let me
movie.
know. I want to see
It's
it.
too long.
I've only got 35 seconds now to let you know that we're here every Monday night from 8 to 9. It's called the off night because we're comics, and Monday night has always been our traditional off night. And we'd always get together at open mics and stuff. So we still do it today here in 2024. This is episode 197, and we'll keep doing it as long as there's comics to talk about stuff. We had
As
fun
long as you
tonight.
have 4 viewers.
Yeah, as long as we have 4 viewers, 4 participants, 4 viewers. We'll be on our way. Anyway, we'll see you back here next Monday night. But it's time
5
to go.
participants.
Hey
Low
guys,
count.
good night.
Yep. All right. Let's see you next week,
Ciao.
everybody. Bye.